Hello bass family, and welcome to Everything Bass with Dale Titus. Today we're going to cover the Minor Pentatonic Scale. And boy, this is probably one of my most used scales. It's just so universal. Again, I came out of the hard rock and metal and funk, blues kind of upbringing, and I seemed like I was always finding bass lines that were created with minor pentatonic. I was creating bass lines with minor pentatonic. It's just a really great scale to know. Definitely a great scale if you want to be an improvising bass player and you want to sit in and jam with people. It's a real great universal scale. So let's just get into what makes a minor pentatonic. For those of you who, well, hopefully you guys have all seen the major pentatonic video I did. So this is its evil brother, the minor pentatonic. Let's start to talk about the intervals that the scale contains. It's a 5-note scale. That's what penta, 5, tonic, tones. It's a 5-tone scale. In this example, we'll go to our friend C. C on the 3rd fret of the A string. That's the root or the tonic, the C. Then we play 1, 2, 3 frets up to the minor 3rd. That is the E flat. So we got C and E flat. Now go to the next string. So there's just two notes on that string. We go to the next string, we play F on the 3rd fret of the D string, G on the 5th fret of the D string. Then we're going to play the B flat on the 3rd fret of the G string and C 5th fret on the G string. So we can look at this a couple ways. If I tell you the intervals, which I should have done first, it's a root, a minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 7th, and an octave. If you don't know intervals, I did a series, I believe there's 6 videos called Understanding Intervals. You can just search them or go to my channel and you'll see them there. And if you just go through them, you'll actually learn what all the interval names are so you'll be able to follow along. It's really important because it does make it easier to learn new scales and definitely helps when we're getting deeper into theory that you understand how to locate different intervals and what they sound like. So we got the scale. Now another way I like to memorize it is which fingering I use if I stick to the 1 finger per fret discipline. I use the index, then the pinky on the minor 3rd, index, ring. So one thing might be a good memory trigger for you remembering the scale is I didn't use my middle finger at all. So I went index, pinky, index, ring, index, ring. Anytime I play the scale up, play it back down. Music happens in both directions. Once you have that down, move it to any root. We've talked about this before, but just you can randomly say, okay, I'll go to A. I'll go to E. Whatever it might be. Or what you can do is, and I kind of prefer this method, is we talked about before, where you kind of have a schedule, like on the 1st day of the month, I'm going to do C. 2nd day of the month, I'll do G. 3rd day of the month, I'll do F. Then I'll do D, then I'll do B flat. You can come up with it. You can do alphabetical if that's easier, if you don't want to go through any cycles, or I was blending 2 cycles there. You could just do a chromatic. One day do C, next day do D flat, next day do D, next day do E flat, whatever works. But the idea is that what we're working towards is that for any given chord, you'll know when you can play or how to find the scale, and you'll know the notes that follow the tonic. Now with that said, I should also tell you what chords this scale goes with. There's some really advanced usage, but I'm going to stick to some basic usage now, something that you can grab real quick and go. So obviously if you see a minor chord on a sheet music, or someone tells you, oh, this first intro is just A minor, you could go and play the A minor pentatonic to match the A minor triad. On sheet music, that would just usually be, there's a couple ways people write it. They might write the letter of the tonic, let's use the example A, and then M-I-N. Sometimes it's a lowercase m. I've even seen A with a minus sign on some sheet music, a lot of real book, old-fashioned handwritten real books, I've seen that. But anytime you see a minor triad, or you're told that the chord's a minor chord, this works great. Any minor 7 chord, this works great too, because as I said when I went through the intervals, it's got a minor 7 interval. So it's basically, what's funny is it's the minor 7 arpeggio with a perfect 4th added. So it's just 1 note extra. So obviously if you have a G minor 7 chord, you can play G minor pentatonic and it's perfect. It blends so well with that. So if you download the sheet music from patreon.com/everythingbass, if you're a subscriber, you can download the sheet music. You'll notice a couple things. I write out what it looks like on the fingerboard, and I write out what it looks like in standard notation and in tab for just what I showed you by playing a C minor pentatonic. And then at the bottom, I give a couple chords, C minor 7, C minor 7, F minor 7, F minor 7. If you have any kind of sequencing software, I've recommended ChordBot and ChordBot Lite for Apple and Android devices. You can just plug in those chords and practice the scale over it. There's a couple lines of instruction on the page. If you don't have any access to any of that, just start making up bass lines. Let's say today is your F day. Everything you're doing is F. Just practice the F minor pentatonic and then just start improvising. Anything like that can really be a benefit to you as a player. Just taking a little bit moment and see what you can create with it in the styles of music that you enjoy playing. So minor pentatonic. If you've been going through the series and you've learned some of my other scales, just fold this into the practice. Try to touch on it every time you sit down and practice, even if it's just running it up and down in a couple different roots. Like say today is the day you're doing F as your root, play it here on the F, play it here on the F, play it here on the F, and maybe that's all you need to do. Improvise a little bit and move on to the next element of your practicing. But by changing the root every day, run through all the scales it keeps them fresh. It's very, very valuable. I still do it. I've been playing over 30 years. I still run my scales and arpeggios every day. Okay, what is our encore item today? I just picked one of my Desert Island discs. I remember in early days of social media, it was always going around, what were the 10 discs that you would take to a desert island? And this was always on it. Over the years, I've replaced some CDs when people have asked me that, or I thought about it myself, but this one's consistent. And it is Robben Ford, Talk to Your Daughter. This CD, whoa. It's foundationally a blues CD, but there's so many cool elements to it. Also, you have a rhythm section that could force a train to take a dirt road. They're that powerful. Vinnie Colaiuta on drums and Roscoe Beck on bass. And they just play amazing blues with so much energy and passion. And the recording quality is phenomenal. In fact, if you're currently a student and you're looking for projects, a student like at a music school or music university, and you're looking for projects to transcribe, excuse me, I like this a lot because the quality is so good. You can hear every element, every musician, every part. You can hear so well that it becomes quite easy to transcribe. You're not fighting trying to hear what the bass player is doing. The mix is outstanding. One of my favorite songs is actually an instrumental on this album called Revelation. And so check it out. It's just great. It's feel-good music, amazing playing. Also, I was frustrated at one point in my life with the quality of my soloing, and not over blues, but over anything. I didn't like how I was soloing. So when this CD came into my life, I actually started learning Robben's some of his licks and some of his soloing and melodic concepts and applying them to my bass playing. And boy, it broke me through so many. It opened my eyes and ears to whole new elements of improv that I hadn't considered before. So I wholeheartedly and strongly suggest Robben Ford, Talk to Your Daughter. What an unbelievably great recording, and I think you'll like it too. So there you have it. Today's Minor Pentatonic Scale. Just learn how to play it. I will give you some exercises to use with scales in another series that'll be coming up. But if at that point you can have these basic scale names identified and be able to play them all over your fingerboard, I think when we start doing stuff with them, you'll have a much better time. Oh, thank you so much, guys. I just love this time we shared together. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like at the bottom. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you'll get notified when I post something new. If you do want access to any of the written material, you can definitely get it. Just go to patreon.com/everythingbass, capital E, capital B. And for a small monthly subscription fee, you'll actually get access to all my written material and other benefits that I have on there. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I really appreciate the support. Please comment, make suggestions. What do you think about the Minor Pentatonic Scale? How have you used it before? And as always, if you want to communicate with me in more direct fashion, you can email me at dtitus@daletitus.com. Man, thanks so much for stopping by, and I really look forward to our next time together. Thanks.